not only is somebody unintentionally or intentionally taking you off track, but you know it. That's one of the reasons I think we kind of resent ourselves when we don't uphold our boundaries. Because you know subconsciously you're behind.
You can't have it both ways. You either set the boundary and stick with it, or you don't. And you're not going to achieve your goals if you don't have any boundaries. You're not. That was my biggest issue.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode number 1381. Today, are you saying no enough? Today, for episode number 1382, a helpful way to stick with the boundaries you set. So, as I mentioned, this kind of connects to the previous episode, but I had a really good story for this, and I do think this is actually something that I'm fairly good at, so I thought maybe I would share that on this episode, and hopefully somebody takes some value from it. So, I was planning on going to a family gathering on Saturday, and right now I am dieting. I'm eating 1,686 calories per day. I'm focused on losing, I don't know what it is, 13 pounds in the next 11 weeks or something, probably 10 weeks now. So I got to speed up. I'm behind based on the surgery I got. It's a whole thing. But I had the plan to go to this cookout on Saturday. And after the cookout, I was going to buzz down to Matt's house and I was going to hang with Matt. I haven't seen Matt since our event. And I don't know the last time I saw him before that. So it's been probably 3 months, at least 3 months, maybe more. So I told Matt, I said, hey, what do you want to do for food? That's just our thing. We always say that. Like, what do you want to do for food? He's like, dude, I'm up for whatever. All right, cool. I have 1,700 calories. We'll figure it out. So in my mind, I'm going through, okay, this is how my day's going to go. Let me plan. What time do I have to leave? All right, cool. Then this is what I do after that. When I go to this cookout, this family gathering, most likely I'm going to be offered food. All right, that's just par for the course. That's what happens at a cookout. I'll be offered alcoholic beverages, most likely. I plan in advance I kind of run through the scenario in my head of what somebody's going to say and then how to deal with it. So in my mind, it was like, okay, who do I have to worry about potentially not guilting me, but feeling bad or feeling some type of way? Okay, let me think about those people in my mind. It's like, all right, cool. What would that conversation actually look like? It's going to be something along the lines of, hey, Kev, what do you want to eat? I'm not going to eat anything. I'm saving my calories for later. Come on, you have to eat. We cooked a bunch of food. You can't go hungry. Like there's going to be so many leftovers, right? In my mind, I'm working through, okay, well, what would I say? And this didn't happen, which I'm very grateful for. But I've also realized, Alan, that I do this on coaching calls. I do this on team calls. I'm always going into the call and I immediately say, this is my boundary. So, hey, I do this with clients all the time. Hey, I have a hard stop at the top of the hour, just so you know. Or I do this when I go on other podcasts. Hey, I have a hard stop at 30 past the hour, just to let you know. I just want to make sure that I don't catch you by surprise when we get close to my time limit. So a helpful way to stick with the boundaries you set. It's a long title. I like to plan in advance and walk myself through what it's going to be like if somebody pushes back against my boundaries. Because I think a lot of us get taken up by surprise or we're off guard when somebody says, I don't know, like in my analogy, hey, what do you want to eat? Right there, if you don't already have the boundary in your mind, you might just say, I don't know, I'll just have meatballs and spaghetti. Because if you don't do it in your mind, you don't really know how you're going to react. I've seen that with people a lot where the pressure and what's the word when you get forced to drink? Peer pressure. The peer pressure kind of turns off the boundary. Well, he's smirking behind your camera, your microphone.
I wanted to ask you a question.
No.
Go on. Okay. Question. All right. So you're not the first person in the world. This is Definitely something not. Everyone deals with who has a diet and it sucks, and you go somewhere with food and you get offered food. This is very common. How do you actually keep the boundary? Not when someone guilts you or peer pressures you, but like let's go even deeper than that. Like, why are you keeping that boundary? Why is that so important? How do you actually do it?
I think there's layers to it. Number one, I don't want to let myself down. And I've said publicly on this podcast, I'm going to lose X amount of weight. I intend on doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's an intention. I'm going to do it. I'm the one getting up and going to the gym, and I'm doing cardio, and I'm tracking every calorie. The last thing I'm going to do is let myself go on the weekend because somebody else guilts me into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give somebody that kind of power. Number two, when you do it once, it's easier for it to happen again. So one of the unique things about setting boundaries is usually when you start to set boundaries, people start pushing back less and less and less and less over time.
Yeah.
Because they start to understand this is just how Kev is. That's another part of it, is almost like it's just brick by brick. And it gets easier to set boundaries too as you go on. And I know this isn't relatable, but I was actually a little bit excited to have the opportunity to hold up my boundary. I was excited for somebody to say, hey, you got to eat, come on. And then I was just going to say, no, I mean, I appreciate it. And trust me, I want to. I very much want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on a very strict diet right now, as I have very specific goals and a specific date, and this could throw it off. So you blame you don't blame anything, but blame the goal. The goal doesn't have feelings. I just blame the goal. And that's worked really, really well. That works for me. And then I think you start to build. So when
you say, I want to lose how many pounds?
It was 184 today. It's not real. I'm probably like 182 right now. So 12 pounds.
Okay. So if you just say, I want to lose 12 pounds in how many weeks?
9.5.
9.5. It's almost like you go in with that ammunition, for lack of better phrasing. Yeah. Where it's like when someone comes and tries to infringe on a boundary, you say, well, my goal is to lose 12 pounds in 9.5 weeks, so I can't. Yeah. What are they going to say? They can't argue with that. You see how specific it is? Versus like, I'm not hungry. It's like, well, eat anyway. Or so I would say clarity.
Take some home. Take some home with you. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to eat it. Even if I take it home, I won't eat it. That's another thing.
It's almost what you did prior. All of it is what you did prior. Yeah. I was thinking about this. I was going into leg day last night, and Emilia and I were going to try to PR on squats and deadlifts. And because on Monday we were at the vet ER until 5:30 in the morning, I haven't done mobility the last 2 days. And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I should try to PR when my mobility hasn't been on point. And I had this moment where I was like, how I perform in the gym has a lot more to do with what I do outside the gym. You know, if I didn't carb up right, that's affecting my strength big time. If I haven't slept well, that's affecting my strength big time. If I haven't done mobility, that's affecting my strength big time. If I haven't hydrated, which I didn't because I was in the ER. I wasn't in the ER. My cat was, and she's okay, by the way. But your performance in the gym is entirely predicated on what you've done prior to the gym. Same with boundaries. You committed to the goal in yourself. You have a plan, and you have clarity around what you're going to say when you have the boundary pushed back on. So it's going to be 1,000 times easier for you than someone who doesn't have a plan, hasn't committed to it. It's like, well, I don't really want to eat that much. See how vague that is? This is why people in show prep do so well. They always lose the weight because there's so much on the line. You can't get on stage, out of shape. You can, but you really don't want to. And so the commitment level's higher, therefore the intensity is higher when you hold the boundary up.
I like practicing it in advance. It's nice to practice it. It's almost like a test run. Kind of. It's a dress rehearsal. You get to imagine what it would be like if somebody pushed back on it. This is the interesting thing, and this is not to shame you in any way, shape, or form. You remember a time where you guilt tripped me, right? That's something you never try to do, so obviously you remember that thing. Yeah. One of the reasons I got caught that day is because I didn't anticipate you doing it to me. So when you did it to me, I didn't have any ammo.
You had nothing ready.
You're here. Usually I would say like, well, I'm super busy. You're here, so I kind of lose that because you're my business partner. You're busier than I am. Damn.
I know you ain't doing nothing. No,
right? So I lost
Sunday.
I lost my ammo on that a little bit because I didn't anticipate that. I But I think it's really good to go into a situation and imagine what it would be like for somebody to say, "What, you're not going to eat?
Not going to eat with us? We got
you're
pizza.
Not going to drink."
Yeah. Yeah, I have shame around that moment for sure.
Well, I
don't like to guilt trip people.
I don't want to put shame
on
I
that. Play.
And the pizza was good. But so imagine if you knew your comeback. Well, I'm happy to sit at the table with you, but no, I probably won't have anything. And no, it's not going to be weird for me. Like, let's just enjoy your food. It's not a big deal. Or I can only stay till 7. I'd love to stay longer, but I can't.
That was another. When people ask why can't you? Then like, what do you have?
I have a previous engagement. I'm going to see a buddy who I haven't seen in 4 months. I only get to see him 3 times a year.
Yeah, this is the hardest part of goals.
Definitely.
The moment you set a goal that you really want to achieve, you pretty much have to like.
You have to advocate for it because
forever,
not nobody
until you
else,
get the goal.
Yeah, nobody else really cares as much. Here's the thing: nobody should care as much about your goals as you do.
No, as a matter of fact, they don't. They care about the relationship with you more than your goals.
Yeah, understandably. And I was pleasant. I didn't get any pushback. I got nothing. It was wonderful.
The story that I wanted to share, what was it? Oh, yeah. I was in the gym, and someone called me. I listened to music and or motivational videos in the gym while I'm working out. And I use my AirPods, and I try really hard to set the timer for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever it is, anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes, and just go ham until the timer goes off. And I try to get into flow, get into the zone. So when I get calls, it bothers me so much, particularly if it's some unknown marketing number or whatever. Usually I just block it, move forward. I get a call, and the AirPods were new, and they announced to me who it was. And the Siri is basically like, SIRI is basically like, do you want to answer it? No. Call again. They call again. And then I go and I have Siri text. It's always hard to say SIRI because then she's going to hear me.
The phone.
So I have her text the person, say, I'm in the gym, I'll call you back. By the end of it, I see the text message after my workout. And I think first I checked it to make sure it wasn't an emergency. I did. I remember checking to make sure it wasn't an emergency. But by that point, I'm frustrated, right? I'm out of the zone, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I check the text. I realize it's not an emergency. And then at the end of the workout, I say, from now on, if it's not an emergency, please don't call me twice. Don't call me 2 times in a row if it's not urgent, if it's not an emergency, because it makes me think something went wrong. It makes me think something's urgent. I saw this really amazing movie you'll like. Tell me that after the gym, right? And again, at the end of the day, this is a boundary. So that person, I hope, will never do that again unless it actually is an emergency. Because if you call me 2 times within 5 minutes, I'm going to assume something is drastically wrong. And again, I know that isn't super relatable either, but I do think it's important, right? My workouts and my goals matter to me more. And I think that as a young man, I used to not be strong enough or courageous enough to say that. I care more about my workout and my goals than I do about this phone call. I just do. And that's okay. It sounds harsh. It sounds mean. People guilt trip you. And honestly, this person that I'm referring to, they would benefit if their workouts mattered more. Like, you are so upset that you're struggling in fitness, but if you set boundaries like I did, you'd be in shape too. And that's what I value. I value working out. I value fitness. And Emilia said this so eloquently on our podcast, the Conscious Couples podcast. She said, a boundary is nothing more or less than protecting and honoring a core value. Protecting and honoring a core value. Of course, I'm frustrated with that person when my core value is fitness. My core value is peak performance. My core value is goals and dreams. And the boundary I've set is please don't call me, making it seem like it's an emergency when it's definitely not. because it takes me out of flow. And so that's just one example, but there's 1,000 of these. And to Kevin's original point, eventually people do stop. Not a lot of people call me anymore. Stop picking up and people stop calling.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, sometimes it's really nice to be spending your days focused on things that you value most. And don't get me wrong, there's lonely parts. It's like sometimes you wish someone would call, but you can't have it both ways. You either set the boundary and stick with it, or you don't. And you're not going to achieve your goals if you don't have any boundaries. You're not. That was my biggest issue, hands down.
Yeah.
Still is in many ways.
I'm Derek Smith, and I just wanted to talk to you real quick about group coaching. I found it to be very beneficial. The biggest thing that I got from it was definitely the tap out and keeping track of the daily habits. It's much easier to get these priorities done when it's scheduled. That way you know that you're doing them first compared to trying to fit them in later. So scheduling it and getting that done first and then having something accountable every single day to do those was definitely beneficial. So if you're thinking about giving group coaching a chance, you should definitely do it.
It's interesting because when you decide that you want to accomplish something that nobody can see, it's your job to protect your goals by setting boundaries. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that's the other thing, too, that I have is I've always kind of been on a strict time schedule. Even when I wasn't an entrepreneur, I was a bodybuilder and I had to be in, and then like my job, I had to be in different states at different times. So when I said I had to leave somewhere at a certain time, I left. That was just the way it is. Mm-hmm. Because for me, it's not, there's just a lot of necessity. There's a lot of necessity for me to say, hey, like, for example, I slept over Matt. So usually when I go down there, it's like an hour and 15-minute ride. I usually stay over. There's a guest bedroom. I have my own bed. But like if we have a whiskey or a couple whiskeys, obviously I'm not going to drive, right? And he's like, I don't know how you always get up so early. Like we'll go to bed at 2 and you'll get up at 6 and go home. It's like, I have to. Because I decided the night before that I have to get up early. I already know that when I'm counting down, like 4 hours. Here's the thing, though. This is the interesting thing. I don't set the boundary of I have to be in bed by midnight. Because for me, I'd rather spend time with Matt. I'd rather lose a night of sleep. I'm okay with that. I understand what comes on the back end of that. But then I have to... So here's the thing. I'm not setting a boundary with him, really. I'm setting a boundary with myself of when the alarm goes off at 6, I'm going to get up and I'm going to drive an hour and 15 minutes home. And then I'm going to work. Because that's what me not setting a boundary on the other end is creating. So even to the point of just alignment and core values, my core value is spending time with him. I'll sleep more tonight.
Boundaries are all about alignment.
Yeah.
Setting a boundary is to stay aligned with what you value and what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Really?
And I think you regret when you let them fall because then it's not only is somebody unintentionally or intentionally taking you off track, but you know it. That's one of the reasons I think we kind of resent ourselves when we don't uphold our boundaries, because subconsciously you're behind.
I had a moment yesterday. I went to the gym at 6, and normally I work 10 to 7 minimum. Morning routine. Again, another boundary, right? Wake up. First call doesn't start till 10. That's on purpose so I can do my morning routine, and then from 10 to 7 I work. And I try really hard not to go outside of that. Because otherwise I get overwhelmed and blah, blah, blah. And it trickles. So like if, let's say I take one day where I don't work till 7, I'll feel it, and that's on purpose. So anyways, you and I stopped recording at 5, I think. No, 3. Emilia and I go to the Tesla dealership. She just got a new Tesla. I get back at like 5:30. I go carb up. I get ready for the gym. Her and I are like, okay, let's rock and roll. You want to go to the gym? It's early. It's 6. I get frustrated when we get there. We took the new Tesla, which was awesome. Thing is sweet. But we get there and I'm all pissed off. Pissed off's the wrong word. Frustrated. The gym is swamped.
Yeah, of course.
It's 6 o'clock. I forgot.
Yeah.
Right? For me, I don't like to go until at least 7:30. And there's a reason for that, right? Everything is set up for a reason, but sometimes you forget. So you slide the boundary and then you pay for it. So we did leg day and it was an absolute madhouse. And we got through it, right? We're not going to leave. But I remembered after on our walk back to the Tesla, I literally, as a sweetheart, because we take our AirPods out while we're walking. And I'm like, babe, never again. Like there's a reason we don't go until 7:30. You know, and that's the truth. We're not going to do that again. Let's set that boundary. So Emilia and I have a bunch of boundaries. I'll just share ours. So one boundary is in bed by 10, latest 11. Obviously, that goes off the rails occasionally, but that's the goal. The target is 10, latest 11. We don't set alarms. We focus on sleep. No phones in the bedroom, another boundary. The chargers are out of the room. Wake up. First call doesn't start till 10. I think for her it's 9. Done with work by 7, latest 7:30. And we have stuck to that. And then we transition from there to the gym. And then we come home, we eat, spend time. We're 482 days in a row of exercise it's 483 as of tonight, I think, or yesterday. March 1st, 2022 is when we started. I usually ask SIRI to remind me when it is. So anyways, how is that even possible? A lot of people struggle, quite frankly, to work out for even a couple weeks. How do we do that? Boundaries. We decided in advance, it's commit. We decided in advance together as a team that we're not going to miss. And we have boundaries around when we go. I'm not sometimes going in the morning, sometimes going at night, sometimes going in the afternoon. I mean, occasionally if things switch, I'll still do that, but not really. It's because of these boundaries, that these guidelines that we're able to, you know, it's not even a negotiable. Like, okay, today when 7 p.m. hits, I'm going to be done working. Emilia and I are going to go downstairs and we're going to start transitioning to the gym. That's just what we do now. And when we go travel, we always look for a gym and or something we're going to do to work out ahead of time. It's all planning, it's preparation, it's commitment, it's boundaries. And the very last thing I'll say, the next level nugget.
Shout out to Jerry Ann for that.
Yeah. The next level golden nugget, next level nugget is boundaries. The purpose of boundaries is to stay aligned with what you value most and what you want to achieve most.
And if you can plan in the future, when you go somewhere, you think, what do I need? I need my wallet, I need my phone, I need my keys, maybe I need a charger, extra contacts, whatever, right? Whatever it is, depending on where you're traveling. But you're thinking, what would it be like if I didn't have those things? I would go into every experience you can with the thought process of, what if somebody pushes back on my boundaries? Because it most likely, it may happen. And then if you can preface it with going into a situation and then just stating, this is my boundary, that works really well. Hey, just so you know, I have to leave at 5. That works really, really, really well. Because it's not, here's the thing, you're not surprising somebody else with your boundary. Everybody's aware of it. So everybody can kind of act differently if they choose. Versus if I show up at 3 and I tell you I'm leaving at 5, you might say, I wish I knew. I would have spent more time with you. It's like, oh, that's on me, right? So I think just putting it out there is huge. Just letting people become aware of it is big, and then you becoming aware of what that might look like. You start to see patterns. You know, certain
you might
people
want to let them
back.
know even before you get there.
You definitely.
You text them like, hey, by the way, I do have to leave at noon or whatever.
Yeah.
I already was thinking about the 4th of July. I have calls, and I'm like, how am I going to, I don't know. I don't know yet.
Who's going to invite you anywhere, son?
Well, we got some stuff going on.
You have some
man.
stuff?
No, I think what we're going to do is the Sunday prior, which I think is
Tuesday.
the 2nd.
Yeah, the 4th is a Tuesday. So
Yeah. So I think it's going to be the Sunday
doing?
prior. But the point is I'm already thinking about the boundaries that need to be set. And very last thing, promise.
I do.
The higher your goals are, the higher you're aiming, the more strict your boundaries have to be.
Yeah.
Olympic athletes have ridiculously strict boundaries. Professional athletes, they cannot lose sleep. Like, they have to be very strict. So the higher you aim, the more strict your boundaries will have to be. And that's why I think most people's pain either comes from not achieving their goals or from social, because the more you focus on achieving your goals, the harder social interactions will be. And the more you focus on your social circles, the less you'll typically achieve your goals. Not always. There's a way to integrate, but it's very difficult to have high goals and enjoy carefree wandering.
I'm glad we did this one. It connects nicely to the previous episode, but I think those next level nuggets, the tangible stuff, just that shift. It's a simple shift, but when you go into an experience with that thought, I think it just adds value. So I'm glad we did this episode. Next Level Nation, we have a brand new curriculum for group coaching. It is the right speed for you where you are in life. It is supportive. It is inclusive. It is a great experience. You're going to learn a lot, yes, but you're going to learn a lot about yourself, and you're going to meet other people. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We all want to belong. We want to find our tribe. Group coaching will be your tribe. Starts July 11th. Link is in the show notes.
If someone's out there and they're on the fence about group coaching, why should they do it from your perspective?
Because if you listen to this podcast, you're already invested in your health and your wealth and your love and your growth and your self-improvement. And there's only so many things we can talk about on the podcast so specifically. All right. So imagine if you heard this episode and you said, yeah, but when it comes to this boundary and this person, I struggle the most. All right. We can talk about that in group coaching for sure. Right. That's the beauty of it, is it's just more custom. It's just more custom. And most of our audience has never had a coach, and that's okay. I didn't have a coach at the beginning of this either, and maybe aren't ready to jump into one-on-one coaching. Group coaching is a great place to test it out. It's cheap. It's affordable. I don't like saying it's cheap. It's affordable. The commitment isn't huge, the time commitment. It's every other week, so it fits nicely. Yeah, all those reasons.
I wish there was a sports team that didn't have any coaching so you could see how much they would get stomped.
It's fair.
It's like interesting, right? Because group coaching is the same as, like, think about high school. You were on baseball teams. Imagine you didn't have a coach. No batting coach, no head coach, no, you know what I mean? You'd just be playing wiffle ball, kind of. Yep. And coaching is how you get better. It's awesome. So I hope you join us. Okay. Also, book club, How Emotions Are Made by Lisa Feldman Barrett. We have a book club every single Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is our 11th book we've gotten through now, I think. But there's still a couple chapters left. You do not have to join book club having read the book. You can jump in, read the chapter, and just join us for that chapter. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. So a lot of people are like that with books, Kev. They're like, well, I have to read the whole thing start to finish. No, you don't. Each chapter has its own golden nuggets in it, and you can join us for a chapter. So the link to register will be in the show notes. The link to the landing page on the website will be in the show notes, and then just fill out the form, say your first and last name. I got an email recently from a listener that said, hey, I want in. So I hope that you send me an email.
Tomorrow for episode number 1383, a simple reason why so many of us don't believe in ourselves. It's actually a simple reason why so many people don't believe in themselves.
Simple reason.
It's been a long day. It's been a long month.
We're hunting rabbits.
So yeah, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Please join us. We would love to have you there. We would love to have you there. I have to go because I'm literally on a podcast in 2 minutes, so I can pull it together. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep those boundaries. Next Level Nation.
And set good reasons.
Set good reasons.